Hi there, smart drivers. Talking to you tonight about social driving, the top reason for traffic crashes. Driving is a social activity, and not all the time does everybody get along on our roadways. That's what we're going to talk about tonight. Talking to elevator fan Xian Lee is here. Hello, and Mallory is here from the Maritimes. Hello, everyone. Corey is here. Bricks for Wheels. Corey does an excellent job of keeping out the bad people as well as getting up the videos that I suggest you have a look at to get further information about questions you ask here on the channel. And what we do here on Smart Drive Test is we help you to pass a driver's test, become a safer, smarter driver, or start a career as a truck or bus driver. In other words, get your CDL, get a license, and get yourself working and making money. Excuse me. And of course, they continue with the rhetoric in the truck driving industry that there are enormous shortages, 20, 30, 40,000, 200,000 truck drivers are going to be needed within the next 10 years. And in my opinion, yes, there's a bit of a driver shortage, but there's been a driver shortage since the 1970s. In fact, there's a driver retention problem. There's not a driver shortage. There's a driver retention problem. So there's lots of work out there, lots of different kinds of work, and there's a video here on the channel, 8 reasons why you should consider being a truck driver, especially if you're having trouble finding employment, which I don't know why you would be at this juncture. Lots of places are looking for employees, so there's lots of work out there. Rawson is here. Hello, my friend Marion is here as well. And Ball, hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for tuning in. And if you have any questions, let us know in the comments, and we'll definitely help you out. Excuse me. Traveling is here as well. And yes, I got all the technical information, all the technical bits sorted out. I spent some time this morning getting my camera hooked up, and I'm actually thinking that the video quality is actually better than what it has been in the past, and made sure that the audio is working. So we spent some time doing that this morning so that we weren't, having technical issues and starting late. Rawson, are you looking forward to Thanksgiving next week? Yes, I am, very much so. Rawson, and to all our American friends. And next week, in light of Thanksgiving and Black Friday and Cyber Monday, all those things, specials and whatnot, we're going to be looking at holiday driving, helping you out with driving in parking lots, keeping yourself safe, not going crazy when everybody else is losing their mind because, they want to buy themselves a new big screen television and whatnot. But that's... Some of the social media posts have said, we all have big screen TVs. I mean, I just bought a new one because my last one died. But put groceries on sale. We want Black Friday specials on groceries, indeed. And yes, I am in Canada, but I'm very aware that it is Thanksgiving for our American friends in the South next week. So we look forward to all of that. All right, Corey's put up the video for you on 8 reasons to consider being a truck driver, and there is lots of different kinds of work as a truck driver. Long haul, regional work where you're gone for maybe overnight and then back the next day, and then there is local work. Now, the most amount of money that you can make driving truck is obviously long haul, but you're away for a week, maybe 2 weeks at a time before you're home on the weekends. And if you have a family, that can be pretty tough being away for those kinds of times. So long haul may not be the kind of work that you want. Regional may work for you where you're gone for a couple of days at a time. And then, of course, a lot of people are working local truck driving, and you're not gone, you're home every night. And of course, if you get into a union shop, that's going to be the place where you're probably going to make the most amount of money. So consider getting into a union shop to make yourself more money. Some of these truck drivers are making $25, $30 an hour working local and driving a day cab and whatnot. So Jackson, I merged from a major road to a minor road, and I parked terrible, but improved, but not quite all the way. And Jackson, I mean, you're trying. That's the great thing, and you're learning. And we learn by making mistakes, unfortunately. So there we go. But you're definitely learning, and you're having the courage to do the work and make the mistakes, because that's what we got to do to move forward. Carrie, hello from Minnesota. How are you, my friend? All right, let's get over to the presentation. We'll talk about social driving. After the presentation, we'll come back. We'll answer any questions you have about passing a driver's test, starting a career as a truck or bus driver, or becoming a safer, smarter driver. So we'll help you with all of that. Social driving, as I said, driving is a social activity and we all need to get along. Different road users, different road user groups. The different road user groups on the roadways are pedestrian, cyclists, kids on skates, scooters, e-scooters now, people with mobility challenges. We have passenger vehicles, light trucks, buses, all kinds of different buses, coaches, highway coaches, transit buses, and then we have trucks and trailers, and we have big semi-trucks. So there are a lot of different road user groups who are vying for road space on our roadways, and not all of them are getting along. Most drivers are really angry at cyclists and do not like cyclists on our roadway. The audio is a little softer. Okay, I'll crank that up there a little bit for you, Marion, and see if that works for you there. I just cranked it up a little bit, so we'll see if that works out for you. All right, social driving, different road user groups, social activity, getting along with each other. Yes. Gonna get my controls up here for the transition for the slides. For those of you new to Smart Drive Test, my name is Rick August. I was a truck driver in the 1990s. Drove for Greyhound, one of the regional bus lines in the early 2000s while I was going to university at the University of Melbourne. Became a licensed commercial driving instructor in 1997. I was a driving instructor in Ontario, Canada. I also took the driving instruction course in Victoria, Australia. Although I never worked as a driving instructor in Victoria, Australia, I worked as a driver trainer for one of the Greyhound when I was there and trained other bus drivers. What else did I do when I was in Australia? Yes, drove for one of the regional bus lines as well, from Melbourne down to Ballarat and then back. Did that once or twice a week to support going to university and making money. Graduated in 2006 with my doctorate in legal history, which is the study of policing, courts, and prisons, as many of you may know. And my expertise is in policing as it relates to traffic. 2015, I started the online YouTube channel, and it has been wildly more successful than I could have imagined. Before the end of the year here, we're going to hit 300,000 subscribers. We just passed 50 million views on the channel, and we run about 1,500 minutes of watch time every hour on the channel. So we're helping a lot of people become safer, smarter drivers. We're also trying to get past a lot of the goofy ideas that people have about driving. For example, the question I put up on the community tab tonight is that, what should you be doing when you're matching speed on the on-ramp, and what should you be doing when you're merging out onto the freeway? And again, do not stop on the on-ramp ever, 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 okay? You just don't do it, okay? That's one of the things we're trying to fix and correct amongst new and learning drivers. New videos I put up last week, braking correctly on snow and ice, and we're going to talk about that as well, because one of the things that I say is don't gear down to slow your vehicle down. And I've made this comment before, and I've taught this before, because it will get you into trouble, because you're gearing down. You don't have total control of your vehicle. Use the brakes. Okay, and in an automatic transmission, you can slide the transmission into neutral, and that will cut all the residual power to the drivetrain. Now, there are several people that believe that they can gear down on slippery driving conditions on snow and ice, and it's completely safe. But that on the ground, you won't rip the airlines off, you won't damage the landing gear. Okay, so all of that. Keep all of that in mind when you're hooking up to a semi-trailer. All right, social driving is one of the things that unites us as a human race, okay? Regardless of religion, regardless of politics, regardless of our thinking and ideology, we all agree with the statement, I am a good driver. And we do. Most people believe if they have more than 3 or 4 years of driving experience, they believe that they are a good driver. All right, and this is one of the things that unites us as a human race. But the other interesting thing about social driving, and the other interesting thing about drivers is that, have you ever noticed that drivers, if somebody's driving faster than you, they're a bonehead. If somebody's driving slower than you, they're a knucklehead. Okay, Everybody else is doing it wrong. You are doing it right, according to the tenets of social driving. People who engage in social driving are reactionary and retaliatory. They are following too close, and they're hoping on a wing and a prayer that if somebody does something goofy in front of them, that they can get their foot on the brake pedal, they can get the vehicle stopped in time. They do not manage space well around their vehicles. They also stop too close in a queue of traffic. You should be able to see as the tires of the vehicle in front making clear contact with the pavement. That's approximately one vehicle length behind the vehicle in front of you. And there are several defensive posturing reasons why you should do that. First and foremost, the number one crash in North America, insurance reported crash, is rear end crashes. Okay, that statement right there indicates that traffic and drivers are following too close on our roadways. If you're following too close, you do not have time to respond accordingly. As one smart driver wrote in a comment a couple of years back, space gives you time, time gives you options, options prevent crashes. So create space in front of your vehicle. In many places that we drive now, Vancouver, Canada, Atlanta, Georgia, Los Angeles, California, Dallas, Texas, Chicago, Illinois, there is simply too much traffic to have a space buffer all the way around your vehicle as the old schools of thinking were in defensive driving. You can't do that anymore. However, you can manage space in front of your vehicle, and you can have that 3 to 4 second following distance, and you can stop in traffic so you can see the tires of the vehicle in front making clear contact with the roadway. This space allows you from moving to being reactionary to responding to what's going on in the traffic environment. And as well, it will help you to interpret traffic patterns and to predict the individual actions of other road users. Nose to tail. One of the reasons we communicate poorly in driving, and it has been theorized by other people other than myself, is that we drive nose to tail. We drive bonnet to boot, okay? And we're looking at the taillights of the rear end of the vehicle in front of us. Think of it like standing in a line at a grocery store. We don't communicate to the person in front of them because we're looking at their butt. We're looking at their back. We're looking at the back of their head. We don't communicate well. And it's the same idea when you're driving. You're looking at the backside of the person in front of you. We don't communicate with the person's backside. So how do we communicate more effectively? And I put up a question on the community tab a couple of weeks ago about when do we signal, and there was so much debate about this, what seems to be a very simple question. And apparently when we signal, when we shoulder check, is not a simple answer to this question. Every time you change directions, you should signal. And the reason is, whether there's other traffic or not, is to have a backup to our observation. Observation and communication work in tandem. They work together as a backup. You always want a backup for when you make mistakes, because defensive driving isn't just about when other people make mistakes or do goofy things. It's when you make mistakes too, when you get tired, when you get distracted, or you're not really thinking about driving and you make a mistake. That's why we put in strategies and techniques for defensive posturing that are going to keep us safe. When other people do something goofy and when we do something goofy. Okay? Everybody follows too close. When traffic slows, vehicles are even closer together. And that's the way that you know that traffic is slowing down, is because not only is there brake lights, but the spaces between the vehicles get closer together. All right? And because people are following too close, and you can see this on the 401 in Ontario, Canada, you can probably see it on the interstate when you're in California, when you're in Dallas, Texas, and other places. One vehicle brakes, the next vehicle brakes a little bit harder, and by the time you get to number 10, the entire group of vehicles is coming to a stop, and you're creating what's called a phantom traffic jam. People are being reactionary. If they created the space, you could increase traffic flow and reduce congestion in these metropolitan areas. Okay, too close in a queue, you get rear-ended. As I said at the beginning of the presentation, the number one crash in North America is rear-end crashes because people are following too close. I don't know what it is, what force in our universe, in our planet, that causes people to drive in groups and in clusters. And you see this mostly on the highway. There'd be 5 and 6 cars, and they're all driving like they're in a NASCAR race. They're all bumper to bumper out on the roadways when there is so much space bilaterally, which means to the front and to the back. There is a lot of space there, but we insist on driving right next to each other. Okay? You gotta do opposite of what everybody else is doing in the arena of social driving. Okay, drivers fail to communicate effectively. I talked about signaling. I talked about communicating. Signaling is only one way that we communicate with other traffic and other road users on the roadway. The position of our vehicle communicates intent. If people aren't signaling, if they're going to turn left, they're going to move to the left side of their lane. They're going to move out into the intersection. There are all kinds of other indicators. Same thing as if they're going to turn right at an intersection. Their speed is going to slow. They're going to move to the right side of the lane. So all of this will indicate to you that they're going to turn right. They may not signal, but you know because of the position of their vehicle and the relative change in speed in proximity to the intersection. So that's going to tell you. Okay, unpredictable actions and erratic actions, and without warning, other drivers are going to do something goofy, and when they do something goofy, many other drivers get into a crash or they rear end them because they're following too close, and they say, oh, there wasn't anything I could have done about it. Yes, there was. You weren't being proactive and creating that space around your vehicle and managing space so that you can create a set of conditions that are your best defensive posturing. And that's what you want to do. You want to create conditions in your driving environment that will allow you to have the best defensive posturing in play. Reactionary and retaliatory. Not only in the arena of social driving do other drivers criticize other people and other road users, they also police them. If somebody does something wrong, for example, they make a turn contrary to a sign, they will honk, they will give them the finger, they will tell them in no uncertain terms that they did something wrong. And there are people out there that believe, without a doubt, they are black letter law people who believe that traffic laws, if they are followed, will keep you safe. Traffic laws will no more prevent traffic crime or traffic crashes than criminal law prevents crime. It just doesn't happen. And we need a much broader perspective of driving and traffic and defensive posturing to keep yourself safe. And one of the ways that you can do that is by managing space in front of your vehicle and stopping in traffic so you have that one vehicle length between you and other traffic, okay? You always want that space in front of your vehicle, okay? And when other drivers are being retaliatory, when other drivers are having a go at you, they're policing you, they will crowd you, they will honk at you, or they will give you the finger, and they will display road rage, okay? I had this happen when I was in Australia. There was this other car. I was trying to be on cruise control, and unfortunately, you know, I was tired, and I may have moved back in front of this other vehicle that was towing this car a little bit too close. They go screaming past me and then cut me off on the freeway at 110 kilometers an hour, which is like 70 miles an hour. And I'm thinking, really? I'm just going to back off and let you go and have your crash somewhere else, because the trailer didn't look very stable to begin with. But to be doing that on a freeway at 70 miles an hour, I thought, oh, that's a bit crazy. All right. So the top reasons for crashing: following too close, failing to give way. And there was just a comment on the question I put on tonight about freeways and merging, and they're like, oh, if you're doing the speed limit and you're beside me at the end of the acceleration lamp, you know, they're basically insinuating that they're going to run the other person off the road. Nice that you're going to do that, and you're not going to help out other people on the highways. If you're on the freeway, and I did a video about this, and I'm going to put it up this week, about slowing and braking. Slowing and braking are not the same thing. You're on the freeway, you just take your foot off the accelerator, you slow 2 or 3 miles an hour, and the person can get in front of you out on the freeway and merge, and everybody is safe. The other question I had this week, and I need to answer this in a video short, they were talking about if they're side by side with another car on the freeway and they're coming up to an on-ramp and there's another car, and so they're three abreast, what do? Your best defensive posturing, if you're three abreast and somebody's coming out on the merge lane, somebody on the highway has to give it up. Somebody has to move to allow the vehicle to get out onto the highway safely. It's not about picking the right answer. It's about picking the best answer. And the best answer is, what is the best defensive posturing that I can put in place that is going to prevent a traffic crash, okay? And sometimes that means slowing down a little bit and managing your speed and helping other people out, all right? So, and I'm right, you're wrong, okay? I have the right of way and I am going to go regardless. But, as I say in all my videos, and I say this repeatedly again and again, you can be right or you can be dead right. Make your choice. So good luck on your driver's test, and remember, pick the best answer, not necessarily the right answer. All right. Does it come up in green? Awesome. Likes green. I usually change lanes if I can. Awesome. Yes, and that helps other people out when they're on the freeway. If you can do that, change lanes or just even slow down a little bit, just taking your foot off the throttle, that's really going to help other people out. Tyrell, congratulations on getting your license. Awesome. Somebody got their license. That is absolutely brilliant. I have to watch them because a lot of drivers in my area just pull out without stopping. Yes, and people don't do that. That's another characteristic of social driving, is that people do not come to a complete stop at stop sign intersections. They speed, follow too close, don't stop too close in traffic, fail to give the right of way. They think they have the right of way. They think they're right. And they're policing other people, right? Criticizing other people. Garden State, I like to honk, not obnoxiously, but I tap the horn lightly a couple times too and flash the lights to communicate with others. Yes, that's another way to do it for sure. Awesome. Eric, you mentioned about not parking on an on-ramp unless you happen to be pulled over by a patrol officer. Correct. Eric, even if you're pulled over by an officer on a freeway, I would suggest that you get off on the off-ramp, and then if there's an intersection at the top and you could turn right, go up to the intersection and turn right and then pull over there. That's going to be your safest place. Unless it is absolutely an emergency or it's too far away to drive to get to someplace safe, you're not going to stop on the freeway. It's just too dangerous, and there are too many what's called in the industry sitting duck crashes, and this has even happened to police officers. This is why we have the move-over laws for emergency vehicles, for wreckers and other service vehicles that are working along freeways and multi-lane roadways, is due to these sitting duck crashes that happen on the freeway. For whatever reason, people on freeways get what's called velocitization, where they're going at high speeds for long periods of time. They don't take a break. They wander off the freeway. They fall asleep. Whatever happens. And then they run right into the back of a police cruiser that has another vehicle pulled over. So pulling over on the side of the road on a freeway is not your best defensive posturing. And if you can get someplace else that you can pull off on the freeway, off on an off ramp, and then up onto a roadway, that is going to be much safer for you. Curio, driving on a 40-mile-an-hour road, a driver at a stop sign turned right in front of me, forcing me to a complete stop to avoid collision. Glad no accident, but I could have driven more defensively. Curio, sometimes they're going to do something goofy, and it comes with experience of being able to figure out what other drivers are doing. I mean, we can interpret traffic patterns, but we have to be able to predict the individual actions of other road users. And in that instance of an intersection, it's watching the other vehicle and where is the other vehicle's in relation to the intersection, and is his or her speed changing as they're approaching the intersection. If their speed isn't slowing down, and you get pretty good at this after a while with a little bit of experience, 3 years of experience, you can tell what relative speeds are. Like if they're just bombing up to an intersection, you're like, wait a minute, that person is not slowing down coming up to the intersection. So it's a little bit of experience, but it is something that you can work on and something definitely to figure out. But awesome. Congratulations on not having a crash, because any near miss experience is simply a learning experience, and that's really going to help you out. So awesome. that you didn't have a crash. We're really happy about that. Russell, what is the best way to set your side view mirrors? Corey will put up the video for you on 9 things you need to set up in the car. But essentially, Russell, the best way to set up your mirrors is the center mirror in the car. The top of the center mirror should be, you should be able to see just the top of the window in the back of your vehicle. And then on the right side, this side, the driver's side of the mirror, you should be able to just see just a little bit of the side of your head in the mirror. So that's how you set the center mirror. And then the outside wing mirror, and this might take a little bit of practice. When you adjust it in, you should be able to see just a little bit of the side of the car on the inside of the mirror. And then the horizon, so if you're sitting on the roadway, the landscape, and then the sky should be halfway through the center of the mirror. And it goes into more detail on that video, and Corey's put that video up for you on 8 steps to set up the vehicle to pass your driving test. So have a look at that as well. Colton. Yes, there you go. Okay, Colton, thank you for that. Lewis, I was used to being advised to share or help each other out in the road traffic, understand the mistakes of other drivers, and acknowledge that all of us do make mistakes. And we do, Lewis. We absolutely do make mistakes. We get tired. We get distracted. We're not paying attention, especially in these modern vehicles that we're talking about. And this is something I'm going to talk about in the book, The Psychology of Driving. It is, you don't really have to be paying attention anymore. When you're driving your car. If you have a car that's newer than 2015, when you're going down the freeway, you have lane assist, you have adaptive cruise control. You don't even have to pay attention. You just keep your finger on the steering wheel, because if you take your hands off the steering wheel, then the car gets all excited. The steering wheel starts shaking. The seatbelt starts to have a panic attack because it thinks you fell asleep, right? But with lane assist and adaptive cruise control, you really do not have to be thinking about what you're doing when you're driving. You can, basically get in the vehicle, put it in drive, and hit it and quit it. And it is, unfortunately, I am of the professional opinion that this is eroding our ability to drive. You get in my old buggy, my 1998 Honda CR-V, and it's a 5-speed manual transmission. It's underpowered. I mean, at 5,200 RPM, I'm lucky if I have 125 horsepower. You have to drive that vehicle. You cannot get in that vehicle and hit it, quit it. You have to be driving. You have to be thinking about your driving. So, yeah, that's one of the points about driving newer vehicles. All right, excellent. Lots of stuff going on here. So I wanted to go back to not gearing down on snow and ice. And some people put this forward. Some people do it. I mean, if you do it and you've never lost control of your vehicle, that's fine. It is comparable to using auxiliary braking in big trucks. Lorries, semi-trucks have auxiliary braking. It's most common in North America is Jake brakes. They're called Jake brakes. Essentially what they do is they close the intake valves on the engine, and you get more back pressure through the engine, and you get that great sound of the Jake brake in the big truck when it's coming down a hill. Wah! So it's the Jake brake. On snow and ice, all owner's manuals in big trucks recommend that you do not use the Jake brake, because you could potentially lock up the back drive tires on the tractor trailer unit. And when you lock up the tires, if you take any skid school, you will learn a locked or spinning wheel always leads. And what that means is, if you have a front wheel drive vehicle and you're on slippery conditions, snow or ice, and you kick down the throttle and those front wheels start to spin, the front end of the vehicle will start to go sideways, because that spinning wheel will lead. It's the same thing if you have a rear wheel drive vehicle, you have an old Trans Am or a Monte Carlo, and you start to spin those back wheels, the back end of the car is going to start to go sideways, because those spinning wheels are going to lead. It's the same thing when you lock up the wheels. And I go back to the tractor trailer with the Jake brake on snow and ice. The Jake brake will actually lock up the drive tires, and the number one reason that truck drivers lose control of their unit is because they lock up the drive tires and the tractor comes out sideways from underneath the trailer. And I have had this happen, and I didn't lose control. I didn't lose control of the truck and trailer, but let me tell you, it's not an experience that you really like. And actually, the time that I had it happen, it wasn't because of the Jake brake. I had it because I was on ice, and I stepped down on the throttle and the tire started to spin. Well, as I said, a locked or spinning wheel always leads. So as soon as those drive tires on the tractor started to spin, the tractor kicked out from underneath the trailer like this, and the tractor, when it started to go sideways. And let me tell you, it was not an experience I wanted to repeat at any time. And this is why in a manual car or in an automatic car, I do not recommend you gear down to slow down the vehicle. And it is old school thinking that you gear down in a standard transmission. And I have had, quote unquote, car enthusiasts say to me, we gear down because that's what they do in racing. And the reason they gear down in racing has nothing to do with slowing down the vehicle. Gearing down for race car drivers is about getting maximum speed through a corner and maintaining or holding the equilibrium. So what happens when they come up to a corner as a race car driver, they will double clutch or they will heel toe and they will downshift and they will keep engine revs really high in a lower gear. That way they can maintain control through the vehicle. Because what happens when you brake, a vehicle, any vehicle that you brake, the front tires do most of the braking. You lift up the ass end of the car. Manual transmission race car drivers will gear down and throttle up so that they keep the vehicle level as they're going through the corner. This is the reason that they do that. If you're gearing down on snow and ice to slow your vehicle down, we come back to the lorry, to the semi-truck with the Jake brakes. You lock up those back wheels and it's going to start to go sideways on you. And, you know, maybe you've had 20, 30 years of gearing down on snow and ice. You've never had an experience. It only takes once. It only takes once and you're in the ditch. So, I've had people have a go at me. That's the reason why. Jake brakes. And it's not just Jake brakes. You can have other auxiliary braking. In Europe, they have hydraulic driveline retarders, electric driveline retarders, and then they will have exhaust retarders as well. And basically, it's a damper on the exhaust that will put back pressure on the engine again and assist with braking capabilities. Because many of you seen the videos of runaway trucks on highway mountain passes and those types of things. Because the service brakes, they've overused the service brakes, heated the brakes up too much, and they don't work anymore. It's called brake fade. So these trucks, these big trucks, are fitted with these auxiliary braking units. But on slippery conditions, snow and ice, these auxiliary braking units can cause the vehicle to go out of control, because a locked or spinning wheel always leads. Mallory, if you were driving on a main road and a car wants to pull out from inside road, do you have to look out for them? Yes, you do have to look out for them. You have to look out for other traffic, other road users every time that you're driving on the roadways. Best defensive posturing. You want to keep yourself safe, and that includes your observation, right? And your observation is not just forward. Your observation is keeping your head moving all the time. You're looking in the center mirror. You're looking down the road. You're looking at your instrument panel. You're looking at your wing mirrors. Okay, both sides. You have a 360-degree awareness of what's around your vehicle as you're driving in a forward motion. Okay, so keeping your head moving, because your eyes moving in your head, there's a physical limitation of how much your eyes can move. So you got to move your head to observe correctly. And if driving instructors have all these mirrors in their car, they're useless, okay? Because they're not looking at your eyes. You got to be moving your head when you're driving to observe correctly. Epic, my friend, another thing that happens in social driving is trying to reach your intended exit when you're about to miss your intended exit from the highway. My dad got involved in an accident like this last month. Epic, was your dad okay? I really hope your dad was okay. And yes, and there's the saying, okay? Good drivers sometimes miss their exit. Bad drivers never miss their exit, all right? So bad drivers are, oh my God, there's the exit, and they just do this thing where they cut right across 3 lanes of traffic to get to their exit. Don't do that. It is completely and utterly dangerous. It's not even unsafe. It is dangerous. It's downright dangerous, okay? Go to the next exit. get off, and then come back to where you need to go. I mean, we live in a wonderful world, a magic world of GPS and maps, electronic maps on our phones and those types of things. It will reroute you. Okay, so go to the next exit and then make your way back to the exit that you need to get off. Okay. Eric, all these tips similar for driving on frozen lakes, for ice fishing, or even snowmobiling on frozen lakes. Yes, keep your space, observe well, okay? Go in a straight line. Remember, on snow and ice, slippery conditions, you're going to get into trouble, curves, corners, and turns. And at intersections. Intersections are going to be slippery. Same thing when you're driving on a frozen lake. As long as you're going in a straight line, you're going to be fine. It's when you're turning, right? And you want to slow down so that you have maximum traction when you're turning. All right? Evan, stopping for shopping is an exercise where you pretend you're looking for a stop just past the entrance to the parking lot, which is on a busy street. Go to Indy. The other exercise mentioned. Okay, Indy Drive. I'm not sure what Indy Drive is, but anyway. Yes, parking lots. Cyber Monday and Black Friday are coming up next week after Thanksgiving. Yes, you probably won't get a spot near the entrance, so go to the back of the parking lot, get yourself a bit of exercise, pick up a shopping cart on your way into the store and those types of things, make a donation to the Salvation Army or other charitable organizations of your choice for winter, for Christmas and the holidays and those types of things, okay? So, know that. Coming green, any tips for driving in the pouring rain? Yes, okay, so green, great question. Corey will put up the video for you on driving in the rain. Couple of tips, okay? Windshield wipers. Make sure that you have decent windshield wipers on your video. Corey will also put up the video on Trico windshield wipers. I don't even know how old that video is. Maybe Corey can tell me how old that video is on Trico windshield wipers. The reason I ask is because I think I did it about 4 years ago. I still have those Trico windshield wipers on the buggy, okay? They were expensive. I know that they're considerably cheaper in the States because a couple of my American friends have told me that they picked them up for like $50 in the States, whereas up here they were like $100. They're probably $120 now with inflation and whatnot. However, if I pay $100 for a set of windshield wipers and they last me 4 or 5 years, then as far as I'm concerned, that's a really good investment, okay? And windshield wipers, like tires and like garden hose and a few other things that you would never buy secondhand, are things that you need to buy new, okay? Just buy new windshield wipers. All right, so that's one of the things driving in the rain. The other piece that you will need to know is how to defrost the windows, because especially in the fall, when it's cool, you're gonna get a lot of humidity inside of the vehicle. So know how to turn on your defrost. The other thing that will assist in getting rid of the mist on your windows is rolling down one of your side windows a little bit to have some more airflow inside the vehicle. Turn on your air conditioning. That'll pull the moisture out of the cabin. And then driving in the rain, try and stay out of the ruts. Try and look along the roadway far in front to see if there's any water pooling. We had a big rainstorm here last week. I was driving to the airport and there was actually one place with the buggy. Remember the buggy, the 1998 Honda CR-V that has 125 horsepower, 2-liter engine in it, and I am driving along about 100, and all of a sudden the speedometer went to like 130, and it wasn't like normal when I'm hydroplaning. It was 130, let off the throttle to let it regain traction on the roadway, because generally when the vehicle's hydroplaning in deep water, you just let off the throttle, the tires will go back down and get contact with the pavement. But I let my foot off the throttle, hit it again, it went back up to 130, 140. So apparently I was in some very deep pooling water on the highway, which is something I hadn't experienced before. And the tires on the buggy are still fairly good. They're only 3 or 4 years old. They're definitely not down to the wear bar. So there was a lot of water pooling on the roadways. So don't use cruise control if you're experiencing water pooling on the roadways. Make sure that you're using the throttle, okay? Know that you're going to get a lot of spray coming off big trucks, semi-trucks, those types of things. So when you're approaching a semi-truck, if you're on a multi-lane road or you're on a freeway, you might need to turn your windshield wipers up to high so that you can see through all of that rain and mist and those types of things, all right? Know that on some multi-lane freeways, if there's water pooling across on the other side of the concrete median, if traffic is coming through, sometimes you're going to get water thrown over on your windshield and you're going to get a big splash of water, okay? And again, stay out of the ruts because that's where the water is going to pool, and that is the place where you're potentially going to get the most hydroplaning. All right, know that for when you're driving. Other than that, good windshield wipers, know how to turn on the defrost, adjust your speed accordingly, and lots of spray coming off big trucks and hydroplaning. You get into deep water and those types of things. Make sure that you're on the throttle. Don't use your cruise control if it's raining excessively. If it's raining light, and you got good tires on your vehicle, then yes, you can use cruise control, but otherwise, all good. Fahim, checklist to warm up the car on winter mornings, evenings, also what to do, when to break down, keep warm. Thank you, Rick. Awesome. Yeah. All new vehicles in the last 30 years are fuel injected. Okay, you don't need to idle the vehicle longer than it takes you to clean off the snow and ice, okay, which is a couple of minutes. You get in, you start the vehicle up, get out, clean the snow and ice off, and then you can drive the vehicle moderately. The vehicle will warm up faster if you drive it moderately than letting it sit there 15 or 20 minutes. And it's easier on your vehicle. You'll get less carbon buildup from the gasoline and whatnot in the engine. So just long enough to clean the snow and ice off is all you need to warm up the vehicle, and then drive it moderately. That's how long you need to do it. Now, if you break down in the wintertime, Corey will put up the video for you on a winter survival kit in your vehicle. I have one. I just bought it at Canadian Tire. There is... What am I trying to say? There is... I think the video is still here. Maybe, Corey, you can have a look. There is different survival kits that I did a rank on. This was quite a few years ago now that I did this, so I don't know if it's still here or not. But anyway... what I need to say was you can buy them. They generally have a set of jumper cables in them. They will have one of those weird survival silver suits that you can wear. What I would suggest to you is if you're doing a lot of highway driving in the wintertime, to put blankets in the vehicle to keep yourself warm. Put a candle in there, put a pot in there because you need something to melt snow so that you can have water to drink. Prescription medications, if you need any prescription medications that you're taking regularly, have those in the vehicle as well. Make sure that you have a charging cable for your phone, because if you get stranded or you end up in the ditch and you're there for a while, you need your phone to be charged to be able to call other people and talk to them, okay? So have all of that as your survival kit. And then, of course, have some non-perishable food in there, some candies, granola bars, those types of things. In my survival kit that I have in the car, I also have a shovel, I have some traction mats, and I have a set of jumper cables in there as well. So all of that's in there as well. If you have a tow cable, not a tow cable, but a tow strap, they're all tow straps now. Chains and those types of things will work in a pinch, but you really want a tow strap. Make sure that you hook it. The best place is to hook it onto a trailer hitch. That's the best place to hook your tow strap. If you don't have it hooked onto a tow strap, most newer vehicles will have a little plastic square on the bumper, either on the front or on the rear. You pop that little piece of plastic out. You go into the jack kit where the jack is stored on your vehicle. If you don't know where it is, look in your owner's manual. And there's a tow hook in there, and you screw that in there, and then you hook to the tow hook, okay? Don't be one of those fail videos on YouTube where you're pulling all the cowling off your vehicle because you didn't hook the cable or the tow strap on properly. And if you don't know anything about towing or you're not comfortable with that, call a tow truck to get yourself pulled out of the ditch, okay? And if you're stuck, don't keep spinning the wheels and digging yourself in deeper. Just stop, call a wrecker, call a tow truck, get them to come out, get them to pull you out of the ditch, all right? Okay, Colton, last week a truck pulling a log loader was going along the Interstate 40 in the westbound lanes. The boom wasn't down all the way, and it knocked down the sign for the Dave Ward Drive exit. Yeah, that happens. I don't understand why these things happen with dump trucks, dump trailers, boom trucks, as you're talking about. It doesn't make any sense. I mean, when I was driving semi-truck, one of the things that I was paranoid about was the semi-trailer coming unhooked from the back of the truck. And just about every time I left the truck, every time I came back, I did a visual check that the fifth wheel jaws were locked around the kingpin. And the 2 videos I put up last week on hooking and unhooking a semi-trailer, this is one of the things that I emphasize, and I cannot emphasize this enough. It's the same thing if I was driving a dump truck, I was driving a truck with a crane on it, a hook, or any of those things that could be elevated. Same thing with parking lots. They're called parking lots. Trucks that haul new cars. Same thing. They don't put the hydraulic ramps down. I would be paranoid about that sort of thing. I would be just absolutely paranoid. And I would be checking it religiously, like, 2 or 3 times every time I left the vehicle, every time I got out of the vehicle, because I wouldn't want anything to happen. All right. Kavanaugh, I watched your video, but I'm having difficulty understanding it. If I'm driving at the speed limit 60 in the left lane, I should move over to the right if someone is driving faster than 60. Absolutely. If you are doing the speed limit, you are going to be the slowest vehicle on the roadway. So you want to drive in the right lane. You don't want to be out in that left lane unless you're passing other vehicles, okay? Mallory, I love the sound of windshield wipers when you're driving in the car on rainy days. I do too, Mallory. I love driving in the rain with the windshield wipers going and those types of things. All right, couple of things. Pass your driver's test first time course package includes the winter driving course and the smarter defensive driving course. It's on sale right now for $37 over at the Smart Drive Test website. You can go over there and pick that up. As I said, winter's coming, so the winter driving course and the smarter defensive driving course are both included in that as a bonus. $37.95 US, I believe it is, on sale right now over at the Smarter Drive website. As well, you probably can see the top of the t-shirt. I sent myself some merch, and I'm actually wearing it. I'll stand up here so you can see it. And remember, pick the best answer, not necessarily the right answer, which is the tagline to all my videos here. So these are available under the video here on the merch shelf there. And then on the back of the video, it has the Smart Drive Test logo. So yes, I am marketing my merch. So this is available as well. And I'm trying to think of some more logos, some more sayings that are not offensive, and to put those on the front. Something about parallel parking or the Ohio maneuverability test, because I know that those drivers in the Buckeye who are trying to get their license really, really dislike the Ohio maneuverability test. So something like, I'm going to make the Ohio maneuverability test my biatch or something like that, or I'm going to take the Ohio maneuverability test to the beach. I'm going to make it my beach or something like that, something that's clever. And so if you have any suggestions about what you'd like on t-shirts, we can do that for you for sure. But right now we have the tagline, which is, kind of a great conversation starter. Remember, pick the best answer, not necessarily the right answer. People are like, what does that mean? You're so weird. So there you go. Rally car guy, you are most welcome, my friend. And you're in Indiana studying for your license now. Awesome. That is great, my friend. Other questions here. All right. Kavanaugh, thanks. Your videos made me pass my driving test with ease. Recommend everyone else driving test, of course. And thank you so much for the recommendation. That just really awesome. Congratulations on passing your driver's test. That is super, super awesome, my friend. All right. What does the best time to practice driving on highways? Chapo, the best time to drive on highways is earlier in the day or later at night. Unfortunately, right now in the Northern Hemisphere, we are into winter time, and with winter time, it's dark, of course, and you probably don't want to drive in the dark. So I would suggest earlier in the morning, kind of after rush hour, which would be kind of like 10 o'clock in the morning, 11, those types of things, and that will really help you out to drive on highways and freeways and get more comfortable with that. The other piece that I would suggest, if you are having some anxiety around driving on highways and freeways, go with somebody who you trust as a mentor to take you out on the highways and freeways, and they can give you some help and they can give you some pointers and those types of things that will really help you out. And if you don't have anybody, then I would really suggest maybe one lesson with a driving instructor And, maybe in just an hour they can take you on the highways and freeways and give you some tips and pointers. But again, managing that space around your vehicle and coming back to merging out on the highway, merging out on the freeways. For those of you who are just learning how to do this and you have some anxiety about this, okay, first rule, never, ever, ever stop on the acceleration lane, okay? Just don't do that. Once you're on the acceleration lane, you are committed, okay? It's like airplanes. Once they get to a certain point down the runway and they hit a certain speed, there is no turning back. It is exactly the same thing for you when you hit that acceleration lane. Now, as you're coming out on the on-ramp, coming out on the acceleration lane, you're looking for your spot on the highway. If you have a spot, it's easier to get your vehicle up to speed because you're aiming for that spot. So know that when you're driving, all right? So aim for that spot, get your vehicle up to speed. Now, I've had the question, what if there's a lot of traffic on the highway? What if it's backed up? Okay, whatever it is, if it is backed up, keep your signal on because you want your signal on when you're on the on-ramp. Signal, we're communicating. And then if people aren't opening up, there isn't a space, hug that left side of your lane, okay? Crowd the left side of the lane because with your signal on and your vehicle crowding the left side of the lane, somebody is going to make space for you, okay? They may not like it, but they will let you in because the other piece of social driving is I'm nice, but I'm not let more than one car in nice, okay? Everybody will let at least one vehicle in, okay? So if you're out there on the on-ramp and somebody's already let another vehicle in, don't do that vehicle. Back off a little bit and then go to the one behind them because they will let you in, okay? People in the arena of social driving are, I will let one car in nice, but not more than one, just one, okay? Colton, treat it as a stop sign where cross traffic doesn't stop. Okay, rally car. I have a question. I have a Honda Civic SI manual. I'm taking the test in a Reddit. The front end and the steering wheel is a pinch off straight. Do you think the BMW will not like that? Rally car, I'm not sure what you're asking me, but as long as the vehicle goes straight down the road, the examiner's not really gonna, they're not gonna know that the steering wheel's off a little bit. As long as you don't tell them, okay? Don't point out things that are wrong with your vehicle when you take your driver's test, but I think you'll be fine, okay? Good drivers occasionally miss their exit. Bad drivers never miss their exit. That would not only make a good shirt, but also a nice hat. Awesome. Excellent. Thank you for that, Colton. I will put that up there as one of the shirts. Awesome. Thank you for that. I'll write that down right now. Good drivers. Leaving myself a note so I can do that. Thank you for that. That's awesome. Okay, and Corey's put up the link for the Smarter Driver course package. And yes, what else did I want to talk to you about? Okay, so most of you are getting your license for the first time, so I'm not going to talk to you about semi-trucks, but if anybody wants me to talk about semi-trucks, hooking up and unhooking semi-trailers, those videos are also part of the MELT, which is the mandatory entry-level training program, which is coming into British Columbia, it's coming into Ontario, and it is soon coming to the United States of America in many of their training programs. So it is within the guidelines of the new MELT programs as well, so know that. Rally car, you are most welcome, my friend. Cario, if a driver is being really aggressive on the freeway, is getting off the next exit, a good idea is to get away from the other driver if they are acting crazy. Yes, absolutely. If another vehicle is on the freeway, on the highway, and they're weaving in and out of traffic and they're changing lanes all the time, yeah, just let them go and have their crash somewhere else. There's another one we could have, let them go and have their crash somewhere else. Write that down, and then we can have the dead right one. I like that one too. You can be right, or you can be dead right. All right, so we got some really good stuff for going on t-shirts and cups and those types of things. So awesome. So thank you for helping me with that. Rawson says, I know big truck has large blind spots. Yes, the bigger the vehicle, the bigger the blind areas around the vehicle. And know that it's going to be the biggest blind area on any vehicle is to the rear. The second biggest blind area is on the passenger side, and then the front of the vehicle, and then on the driver's side. Those are going to be your blind areas. Now, as the vehicle gets bigger and bigger, the more blind areas you have around the vehicle. And there's some truck driver who left a comment some couple of years ago saying that they could eliminate all the blind areas around their big semi truck, and I was like, yeah, sure, whatever, which is completely and utterly not true at all. I mean, unless you have cameras on your vehicle, you cannot eliminate the large blind areas around your vehicles. And one of the added mirrors that was really helpful on driving a semi truck were what we called the bus mirrors, but they were on the front fenders and allowed you to see in the blind areas down the sides of the semi trucks. But definitely know that the bigger the vehicle, the bigger the blind areas. And it's even bigger if you don't have those bus mirrors on your vehicle. Also, you have to watch when you're fueling, because generally when you put fuel in a semi truck, you lift the hood up and you check the oil at the same time, do a pre-trip inspection under the hood and whatnot. And of course, the bus mirrors, when the hood is up, are hanging out here like this. And there's been a couple of times where, you know, you're going around from one side to the other because you've got two pumps on a semi truck. You got two fuel tanks, one on the driver's side and one on the passenger's side. And so you put the pump in on the driver's side first, and then you walk around the passenger side. And of course, you're going to walk around the front of the truck. And there's been more than once you're tired, you're putting fuel in the truck, and you get the bus mirror like right here in the forehead as you're going. And you're like, whoa! Just about knock yourself out at the fuel pump. Corey, hasn't melt been a thing for years now, or did some provinces? Yeah, Corey, it has been a thing in Ontario for some years now. It was only implemented here in British Columbia about 18 months ago. I had to do the course for my instructor's license. So some places it has been in place for quite a number of years. Ontario has had it in place for a number of years as well. Manitoba might as well, but I know that they just implemented it here in British Columbia within the last 2 years, and I know that it's been the last year or so that they've been bringing it in the United States as well. Marion, it's pretty frightening when those big semi trucks overtake you on the highway, especially when it's raining, lots of water splashing onto your car. Yes, I can imagine it can be a bit intimidating. It definitely is, right? Because not only do you have the extra spray of the rain coming off the tires on these big trucks, but you also have the wind buffeting you, because depending on where you are in relationship to the big truck and which way the wind's blowing, in your car, the big truck will be going past you, and then you'll get in that wind where you're buffeted by the wind, and the car's like, ah! And you're like, oh my God, what's going on? Yeah, it's because that big truck is pushing so much wind as it's going down the road, and especially if the wind is coming in on one of the front corners, it is really buffeting. It's pushing a lot of wind as it's going down the road, and it can move little cars a little bit as it's going up and down the highways for sure. Yes, crazy. Crazy. Colton, the one blind spot you can't get rid of is underneath the vehicle. Yeah, I didn't realize that underneath the vehicle was a blind area. But anyway, you can't see down there, that's for sure. And if you have to drive over debris on the roadways, because you don't want to try and think, oh, that garbage bag, there doesn't seem to be anything hard in that, and then it's got, like a old air conditioning in the garbage bag that's in the middle of the road. Ideally, if you can miss it completely, that's what you want to do. Now, if you can't, because there are dynamics of trying to navigate debris on highways and freeways, and depending on how much of a lead time you get on actually seeing it, because if there's traffic in front of you and the traffic in front of it doesn't see and it goes underneath the car in front, pops out in front of you, well, you have to make a split-second decision about what you're going to do to avoid this debris on the highway or freeway, right? So ideally, you want to move to the outside edge of the road. You don't want to be driving in other lanes of traffic to try and miss the debris. But when at the same time, it is really hard, like an air conditioning unit, you don't want to hit it, right? So you got to kind of figure out how high it is. Maybe you can straddle it and go over it as well. But that's something that comes with experience, and something only happens maybe once every 5 years when you're driving up and down highways and freeways and whatnot. AS, I am an adult learner in the US, 36 years old, no longer in the big city. Your videos gave me a lot of confidence and I watch them frequently. Thank you for everything. You are most welcome, my friend. Thank you for your kind words and coming back and letting us know we were able to help you out. That is tremendous news. Tremendous, my friend. Marion, yes, exactly. It feels like you are getting going to be sucked in under the truck. Yeah, that sometimes happens for sure. Emily, question, what are the worst times to avoid driving altogether during the winter as a first-time winter driver who's going to be driving with the 3-year-old car? Emily, I think your car is going to do you just fine with the 3-year-old car. You're going to be great on the roadways in the wintertime. Know that intersections are going to be slippery. Okay, know that curves, corners, and turns are when you are going to get into trouble, when you have to change directions of the vehicle. As long as you're going straight down the roadway, you're going to be fine. Lots of space in front of your vehicle, probably 2 to 3 times what you normally would. Okay, and then coming up to intersections, brake early, and then creep up to where you actually want to stop. That's what you want to do in the winter time when you're driving. All right, good tires on your vehicle. Emily, make sure you take them in. If you're not sure, go to a tire shop. Ask them. You know, they should have the mountain snowflake symbol on them, or the M&S, or they should be actual snow tires on your vehicle. Good winter washer fluid in the washer tank, good windshield wipers. All of that will keep you safe in the wintertime. Oh, 3-year-old vehicle in the child in the car, not a 3-year-old car. Okay, brilliant. You know, keep them in a car seat. Okay, you don't want big bulky jackets on them and those types of things when you strap them in, because they can, you know, that can compromise the seatbelt and its ability to protect the child in the event of a crash. So try and just take their jacket off. Make sure that they maybe have just like a what am I trying to say? Like a hoodie or something like that, like a light jacket in the vehicle, because it's going to be 5 minutes and the car is going to be warm, right? So you want them not those big puffy jackets on when they're in the vehicle and those types of things. But all the other things, lots of space around your vehicle. If it's snowing or it's ice and snow on the roadways or those types of things, just go the flow of traffic of what everybody else is doing, because when it's super slippery out, everybody else is going to be driving slow in the wintertime. That's the only time that I recommend that you drive the same speed as everybody else, okay, in the wintertime. But good space, brake early, curves, corners, and turns, go nice and slow, because that's where you're going to get into trouble in the wintertime. And again, if it is slippery, and this is what I tell everybody in the wintertime, do a test, okay? Go out on your roadway, hit the brakes, see if it is slippery. Go down the road, maybe, you know, where is section, look in your rearview mirror, make sure there's anybody around, and then hammer on the brakes and see if it is in fact slippery, okay? Do a test to see how slippery it is. All right, check out Pass Your Driver's Test First Time Course Package over at the Smart Drive Test website. On sale. Includes both the winter and defensive driving smart courses as a bonus. Check that out. Merch, as I said, here's the shirt. You can see all the rest of it there. I'll pull it all the way up. Okay. Down in the merch shelf, all great, peddling all of that. You had a driver's test in the last couple of weeks you passed. Congratulations. Awesome that we could help out. If you have a test coming up in the next week or so, good luck on that. And remember, pick the best answer, not necessarily the right answer. Have a great night. Bye now.